Hello everyone, today is 25th of August, Sunday, so I hope you have a wonderful day and a great weekend. Now it's about 12:30, middle of the day by Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my first update for the day in which I will share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. And there are quite a few very significant developments and news that I'd like to share with you for this moment. Although before I start, let me remind you, if I may, that as always, on Sundays I have a traditional Sunday live stream or community chat. And if there will be no technical issues, and unfortunately they may occur because right now I can clearly see that there are some issues with the sound, unfortunately. But anyways, if there will be no technical issues, I'll definitely try to make a live stream about 5 o'clock this afternoon, Moscow time, or maybe 6 o'clock in the evening. I will let you know about the stream some 30 minutes before I start by posting about it on my Telegram channel and community page on YouTube. So that's been said, as you can see, I'm in a different corner now of this flat that we are renting in Moscow. And for time being, I will use this corner for work, and eventually, because we just moved, by the way, and we are in process basically to adapt. At some point, probably I will make some working corner for me, permanent one. But now, I mean, it is what it is. It's not that important, of course. Main thing is to make informative updates. So let's start. Well, first of all, I want to, of course, share with you Russian media's report about arrest of Pavel Durov. So Telegram founder Pavel Durov is arrested by French police. The Russian founder of their messaging app Telegram, Pavel Durov, has been detained after he arrived in Paris on a private jet. Local broadcaster LCI has reported that Durov, who obtained a French passport in 2021, was arrested in Paris Le Bourget airport at around 8 p.m. local time. The outlet said on Saturday he is also a citizen of United Arab Emirates, St. Kitts and Nevis, and his native Russia. His jet arrived in the French capital from Azerbaijan. The 39-year-old had been accompanied by female and his bodyguards, outlet also noticing. According to LCI, the French authorities issued arrest warrant for their tech entrepreneur as a part of preliminary investigation. Paris believes that Telegram's insufficient moderation, its encryption tools, and alleged lack of cooperation with police could make Durov complicit of a number of crimes, including drug trafficking, pedophilia, fraud, terrorism, and so on. And of course, French authorities can blame Durov for anything, but in reality, everyone understands that this is direct attack on freedom of speech, freedom of expression. No one believes, really. I didn't see even single report when some public figure or journalist or serious individual blame Durov for any wrongdoing or any crime. This is a purely attack on independent media, I will say, freedom of speech and expression. And I guess vast majority of our community, or everybody in our community, will most likely are on the same page in this regard. We also have reports, of course, many high-ranking officials here in Russia, and also public figures reacted, and not just in Russia, but worldwide. This topic is definitely breaking news still at this point. And we have this report from RT also that Moscow addresses foreign NGOs over Telegram founders' arrest. Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova is asking if international human rights groups will pressure France in response to arrest of Telegram founder and CEO Pavel Durov, given the harsh criticism they come up with against Russia several years ago when it tried to regulate the messaging app operations. Telegram. According to French media, Russian-born entrepreneur was detained at Paris Le Bourget airport. I already spoke about it. And Zakharova, who took Telegram on Sunday, who took to Telegram on Sunday, recalled how in 2018 a group of 28 NGOs, including Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, Freedom House, and Reporters Without Borders, condemned Russia's court decision to block Telegram in the country. And dear friends, now Telegram is not blocked in Russia, but there was a time period when Telegram was blocked. So those NGOs demanded that Moscow stop creating obstacles to Telegram's operations at the time and guarantee the rights of the users to publish and anonymously consume information online, Zakharova pointed out. They called upon the UN, the Council of Europe, their OSCE, Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, the European Union, US, and other governments to resist Russia's actions and protect the fundamental rights of freedom of expression and privacy. Their spokeswoman recalled. Zakharova reminded the NGOs that Moscow had legal issues with the Telegram over the technical parameters of its encryption system, like many other countries. Meanwhile, Durov remained free all this time, continuing to develop Telegram. She stressed, so even though Russia had some issues with Telegram, Russian authorities did not arrest Durov and did not try to arrest him. What do you think, Maria Zakharova is asking? Will these NGOs, appeal to Paris this time and demand Durov's release, or will they swallow their tongues? The spokeswoman asked her audience. Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly Twitter, were blocked by court order in Russia after the escalation of the conflict between Moscow and Kiev in February 2022, but Telegram remains operational in the country, which is, yes, absolutely correct. And unfortunately, nowadays, access to YouTube is quite slow, which is not really helpful, but it's not blocked. At least it's not blocked officially, as far as I understand. But unfortunately, Rumble is blocked, which is also not really good stuff. But anyways, I mean, very legit question from Maria Zakharova, isn't it? That highlights these double standards that these so-called NGOs are basing their operations on. They were very critical and noisy when Russia had some issues with Telegram. Let's see if they will try to be as active in defense of Telegram or Pavel Durov. Right now, I have some doubts about it. I definitely have some doubts about it, because those NGOs, absolute majority of them are creations of the CIA. Let's be clear about it. They are creations of CIA and MI6. It is what it is. And they will do whatever they are ordered from British and US secret services. And the former Russian president and current deputy chairman of the Security Council, Dimitri Medvedev, also reacted on information of arrest of Pavel Durov, and he said that Durov made a mistake when he basically tried to become a world citizen, because well, he will face the consequences now. He will face the consequences. You know what? Let's translate at least a couple of sentences of Medvedev's statement for a better understanding, and of course many other higher public figures and high-ranking officials made the comments, not just Zakharova and Medvedev. So Telegram founder Pavel Durov, who was detained in France, made a fatal mistake by leaving Russia to become a man of peace or world citizen. Deputy chairman of the Russian Security Council and former president Dmitry Medvedev expressed this opinion on his Telegram channel, noting that for the West, there entrepreneur still remains a dangerous Russian. Medvedev recalled how he talked to Durov, who refused to cooperate with law enforcement agencies on serious crimes and eventually left Russia. I wanted to be a man of peace who lives well without her homeland. Ubi bani bi patria. In Latin, there is a homeland where it is a good life, I guess. Translation is there. The politician recalled their entrepreneurs' motives. He miscalculated. For all new common enemies, he is a Russian, and therefore unpredictable and dangerous, of different blood, Medvedev said. Durov needs to finally understand that their fatherland, like their times, is not chosen or cannot be chosen. Motherland, basically. We say motherland, and well, Medvedev has a point, isn't it? Medvedev has its point. Durov definitely is seen by many, especially by Russophobes, by the way, as a Russian, not as a citizen of peace or citizen of the world, but as a Russian. And in these times when Russophobia is our main narrative of the collective West propaganda, Western ruling class, well, Durov being seen as enemy, like all the other Russians, and he's being targeted. Although, by the way, of course, I will reiterate that the actions of the French authorities is a clear attack, definitely clear attack on freedom of speech and expression. There can be there is no way around it. And even though I think most likely Durov will be released shortly, probably French authorities, French secret services will try to pressure him to give them a backdoor access to Telegram. And if French secret services will gain backdoor access to Telegram, then most likely CIA and MI6 will have this backdoor access. Also, if they already have not. Although, according to some reports, by the way, for example, ally of Julian Assange, MP in Australian city, in local government in Port Hedland, Adrian MRE, as I said, he was and he is an ally of Julian Assange, stated that this attack on Pavel Durov was orchestrated with active participation of US and NATO intelligence services. And because we are talking about ally of Julian Assange, and Julian Assange is of course founder of WikiLeaks, then statement of Adrian MRE definitely has a significant weight, because I guess he knows. Julian Assange knows, and his sources. And I have no doubts about it, by the way. I have no doubts that Pavel Durov is under attack of Western ruling class and Western secret services, because they just don't like him. They don't like that he is trying to preserve his independence. He is trying to preserve independence of the Telegram, and unfortunately, because of it, he is a target for powerful groups in this world, especially in the Western world. And who knows how will situation develop next? But he should never travel in France. By the way, he should never travel into France. That was mistake. He should never travel to any of the Western countries. Let's be clear about it. And right now, by the way, if you want to be really safe, I mean, I guess Durov, if he was in Russia, he most likely would be much more safer than in any other country in this world. Even if Russian authorities will still have questions about Telegram's operations, because he was in Russia when Russian authorities had some issues with the Telegram, isn't it? And he was not arrested. And when he created VKontakte, another very popular social platform, very popular in Russia and former Soviet Union. Eventually, he sold that platform, according to some reports, under pressure from authorities, but he was not detained. He was not arrested, not put in the jail. He was allowed to leave Russia. And I truly believe that if he was right now here in Russia, he would be much safer. And times are changing so fast, by the way, that like 30, 40 years ago, countries that were perceived as a land of free are now turning into land of tyranny. And countries that used to be perceived as a land of tyranny, like let's say Soviet Union, that was perception of Soviet Union in the Western world, at least, that it was a land of tyranny. These former republics of Soviet Union, at least some of them, including Russia, is definitely becoming a land of free, which is interesting, isn't it? History has a sense of humor, for sure. It is quite ironic, but it is true, by the way. I truly believe that Russian citizens are much more free than citizens of US or any member of the European Union. I truly believe in that. You can come here, live here, and you can make sure that it is the case, really. Although, of course, no country in this world is a paradise. We should always keep that in mind also. Obviously, every country has some issues, but in regards to freedom, including personal freedoms, by the way, I truly believe Russia is much more safer now than any Western country. Any. Let's continue, and we have RIA Novosti's report that Elon Musk also commented on Pavel Durov's arrest. He was somewhat ironic in his comment, and he said that that's the advertise for you about First Amendment in U.S. Constitution, which is all about freedom of speech and freedom of expression. And yes, I mean, I can, and many people can understand Musk because, as I just mentioned, at least indirectly, countries in the West and including US definitely are undergoing this process of transition from countries where freedom of speech was a thing to the countries that freedom of speech is prohibited. And US more and more looks like a country where you cannot express your opinion freely. And there are certain topics, isn't it? I mean, members of our community from US can comment on that and share their opinion. There are topics in that you cannot be honest about in US, in UK, in other European countries, for example, in Canada, for example, in North America, basically, and in Europe. In many countries, there is topics, ideological topics that you cannot touch. Otherwise, you may experience some difficulties. And just recently, by the way, in UK, people were arrested for posts on social media, on Facebook and that kind of stuff. I saw a video when elderly man was arrested because he commented something on social platform. This man was shocked. I mean, he was shocked, really. He could not believe that he's been arrested just because he wrote something on social media. But that's the state that Western world is right now, and Musk definitely has a point. That arrest of the Pavel Durov is definitely demonstrates general attitude of the Western ruling class, including US so-called political elites, towards freedom of speech, and in case of US, First Amendment. And also, by the way, Tucker Carlson reacted on, famous US journalist, of course, reacted on arrest of Pavel Durov, and he said that arrest of Durov is definitely a warning and should be taken as a warning by all the other individuals that are in business of this social media. And I guess, first of all, Carlson is addressing Elon Musk, because Elon Musk is quite vocal nowadays about many topics that are kind of taboo in US, woke culture, this woke ideology and that kind of stuff. And because Elon Musk is the richest man in the world, he has his own platforms, he's in a different place, really. He can at least try and defend himself. But I mean, if you are ordinary citizen and do exactly the same that Elon Musk does, most likely you will lose job, you will lose your business, you will end up being crushed by this woke mob. And I see Carlson's warning, Carlson's reading of the situation as definitely warning, not just for people that are involved in this business of social media, but he is basically warning first of all Elon Musk, because I guess they have some connection, and Elon Musk is under threat. I also think that because of this locality, I mean, because Elon Musk become really vocal, he is under threat. This woke mob, neolips, even deep state, by the way, most likely is very mad on Elon Musk, and if he is not careful enough, you know, he has most likely has some very serious enemies, and they may take action against him. Anyways, by the way, of course, I will continue to monitor situation about around Pavel Durov, and I will share additional news on my Telegram and in next updates. But in any case, of course, as many people worldwide, I also see this arrest of the Durov as a direct attack on freedom of speech and expression, and attempt of Western ruling class to gain access to Telegram, to gain backdoor access to Telegram. And that's exactly what it is, I guess. Dear friends, as I said, I might have this video may have some sound issues. I apologize for that. As you know, we are still in process of moving to Moscow, and I'm not yet in the place that I want to be when it comes to work environment, but I'm moving towards that. So I will deal with all the possible issues one by one. Anyways, let's continue, dear friends. Let's continue. And RIA Novosti's report here that Zelensky signed a bill that will basically ban Ukraine's Orthodox Church of Moscow Patriarchy. Ukraine's only canonical Orthodox Church, by the way. And well, at this point, people so used to crimes from Zelensky's regime that I guess no one really is shocked to hear that Orthodox Christianity, canonic Orthodox Church, is under attack by these Ukrainian Nazis, terrorists, and basically these evil people that have been put in charge in Ukraine by Western ruling class. And Western ruling class is an evil force, obviously, and their existential threat for humanity. Also, by the way, Interfax is reporting that yesterday there was a POW exchange between Russian and Kiev regime side, and 115 Russian military personnel was freed by Kiev regime that were captured in Kursk region. According to reports, vast majority of those released POWs, Russian POWs, are conscripts that were conducting operations on the border. They were border guards, majority. And again, according to reports, because of course some details about this exchange are still unknown. And well, Russian side also freed 115 Ukrainian POWs. Also, we have information from Vzгляд newspaper that Russian Air Force conducted a strike, and this is interesting news also, by the way, important, that Russian Air Force conducted a strike on special forces of the Kiev regime that were located on Snake Island in the Black Sea. And according to reports that we are getting, by the way, during this strike, not just Kiev regime's special forces were neutralized that were planning to conduct some landing operation on Russian territory, but also forces of special operations of the NATO that were usually conducting operations from Romania. So if this report is correct, then Russian armed forces destroy not just special forces of the Kiev regime on that Snake Island, but also special operations units of their NATO countries. NATO. No specifics, by the way, only information that this group were active. This group was operating with their fast boats from the bases in Romania to conduct their sabotage and terrorist activity. So this is interesting news. So usually in these operations on the southern sectors of the front line, UK plays a leading role, and I would not be surprised at all if eventually, sometime in the future, we will realize that during this strike on Snake Island, Russian armed forces neutralize another unit of Ukraine's special forces. British special forces, United Kingdom special forces, or maybe this group was French military, French special forces. Yet again, no specifics, only information that Russian Air Force destroyed special forces of the NATO during the strike on Snake Island. RIA Novosti is also reporting that according to media reports, by the way, and there was article in New York Times, for example, US and UK provided intelligence for the Kiev regime to conduct Kursk incursion. So even though Washington and London are still until now denying that they've been involved in the planning of this Kursk invasion, and they are denying that British and US personnel is participating in this terrorist attack on Russia, New York Times is publishing article, and many other media outlets, of course, now, that US and UK were actively providing Kiev regime with intelligence data, with satellite imagery and so on, which is not really surprising to me. But some people may find this information disturbing because, I don't think many US citizens would like if Russia will provide with intelligence and means of strikes all the enemies of US, and will give them help to invade US territory and act as Ukrainian NATO and NATO terrorists are acting in the Kursk region, or their mercenaries, foreign mercenaries that are fighting on behalf of Kiev regime. So this is definitely disturbing developments are taking place, by the way, and if anybody thinks that US will be able to continue this terrorist activity against Russia with impunity, US or UK or any other NATO member states, I mean, they are mistaken. There will be retaliation, by the way. I feel sorry that I feel sad that leadership of these NATO member states put their countries in a position of enemy of Russia. It's their choice, their decision, right? And they are acting as enemies of Russia. They are involved in killing of thousands of Russian citizens. And this cannot be forgiven or forgotten. So therefore, of course, at some point there will be retaliation, and citizens of these countries should always keep in mind that it was not Russia that started this. It was their countries, their political elites that started this and Russia has every right to retaliate, isn't it? Russia has every right to defend itself and to retaliate on time of its choosing. And when it comes to this news itself, for majority of our community, it is not surprising, because we had a conversation on that many times before. Of course, US and British state institutions, high-ranking officials from Pentagon and the secret services were actively involved in developing of that plan of invasion of the Kursk region. And by the way, Kyiv regime is actively using HIMARS MLRS systems to conduct strikes in Kursk region. And of course, we all know that HIMARS systems cannot be operated without direct involvement of US intelligence and the military, because it's them that are conducting service of these systems, and it's them that are giving coordinates for their missiles, right? Let's continue. RIA Novosti is reporting that according to, well, there was explosions, by the way, according to number of Ukrainian Telegram channels and some sources. There was explosions in Kharkov region. No precise information what exactly was targeted, if it was a Russian long-range strike, but locals are reporting about significant number of explosions that they heard. Also, Duda, by the way, leader of Poland, president of Poland, Andrzej Duda, made a statement that Warsaw in February asked NATO member states to start intercepting Russian missiles and drones over Ukraine, but well, Duda is trying to present this news as if NATO member states are against it. Otherwise, I mean, Poland is good with it, you know, and he was making these statements while visiting Kyiv. Okay, hard to tell if this information is true or not, but you know my take on fate of Ukraine. I'm 100% convinced that once this conflict will end, there will be no more, most likely there will be no more Ukraine on the political map. It will be divided between Russia and NATO. Majority of the territories will be controlled by Russia, and Western Ukraine will be controlled by NATO and eventually claimed by Poland, Hungary, and Romania. And during this process of divide, I'm not going to be surprised at all if Poland and other NATO member states will declare no-fly zone over the western parts of Ukraine, which eventually will be occupied by NATO troops, including Polish troops, right? So I guess all these statements from the NATO member states can be seen also as an indicator that serious work is being done by NATO member states to create ground, to prepare ground for occupation of their western Ukraine, and then for creation of no-fly zone over the western Ukraine. Although, of course, theoretically speaking, it is definitely a possibility. There is a slight chance that yes, majority of territory of modern Ukraine will be controlled by Russia, western parts of Ukraine by NATO, let's say. Although, as I said, there is a slight chance that Kyiv and surrounding areas will maintain statehood, name Ukraine on the political map. Although, as I said many times before, I definitely don't understand why would Moscow ever agree on that. Ukraine to remain on the political map in whatever shape or form. Just Kyiv and surrounding areas, or some few more villages being added. I mean, it does not make sense to me personally. Kyiv is a Russian city historically and should be in Russia, part of Russia. I mean, it's just so obvious, man. It's just so obvious that I don't know. Like Lvov is a Polish city, and I have no issues if Lvov will become a Polish city again. If Poland will reclaim that city, I have no issues with that. I mean, it is Polish city, man. Everybody knows that, right? And I think here in Russia, vast majority of society will have no care if Western Ukraine will become under control of NATO. I'm talking about vast majority, and I'm quite convinced that this is if you conduct some social study, this will be confirmed. But when it comes to at least from Kharkov to Odessa, I mean, this territory definitely has to be liberated from this occupying Western regime that is based in Kiev. And in my personal opinion, Kiev and surrounding areas also have to be liberated and join Mother Russia. I mean, that's how it has to be. Ukraine, this creation of the Bolsheviks, by the way, Ukraine had its chance to prove that it can be proper state, respectful state, but the Ukrainian elites blow that chance, right? And modern Ukraine is a terrorist state, clearly, and so-called state institutions of Ukraine are terrorist organizations that are basically accused of terrorism, even by US, by the way, and Germany, for example. We all know Western media nowadays are actively pushing this narrative that it was the US was not involved in the bombing on Nord Stream pipelines, it was Ukraine. So they may not realizing, but basically they are saying what I was saying for a very, very long time, that Kiev regime is a terrorist organization, and Kiev regime so-called state institutions are terrorist organizations also. And it is the case. I mean, if you judge by their actions, they are terrorists, for sure. So therefore, I don't think Ukraine should remain on the political map, because you cannot allow terrorist state to exist. I mean, it's just nonsense, right? Entire world was against the creation of the ISIS, right? And they were trying to create this state, some Islamic state with some specific ways of life and rule and that. And that ISIS was recognized as a terrorist organization due to its extreme ideology, and was basically vastly destroyed. Correct? And why should anybody allow terrorist state to exist in territory, in areas that are now called Ukraine? Why? Anyways, let's continue. RT is reporting that Ukraine has lost 2/3 of US supplied tanks, according to media. So Ukraine has lost 2/3 of its US supplied Abrams A1 main battle tanks in the space of only half a year. Military Watch magazine has reported. The outlet said in an article on Thursday, that according to estimates, close to 20 out of 31 tanks provided to Kiev by Washington have already been destroyed by Russian forces. The latest Abrams was blown up in Russia's Kursk region, Military Watch magazine said, based on videos uploaded by Russian Telegram channels. And yes, latest Abrams was destroyed in the Kursk region, which is an indicator that most likely 47th Mechanized Brigade of Kiev regime being thrown into this Kursk salient, and will be decimated, by the way, and will be 100% decimated there, because there was the rumors that 47th Mechanized Brigade was withdrawn from Avdiivka sector because of the heavy losses. And then we had a report that Russian side conducted a strike on headquarters of this brigade in the Sumy region. Also, rumors start circulating that Kiev regime probably will deploy this brigade, whatever is left from the brigade, towards Kursk direction, because Russian armed forces destroyed hundreds and hundreds of military equipment, including heavy armored vehicles of the Kiev regime in the Kursk region. And they have severe lack now of military equipment. Rumors start circulating that probably Kiev regime plans to direct these remnants of the 47th Brigade into Kursk salient, and this is exactly what is happening. And that's why Abrams tank was destroyed, because if I remember correctly, all Abrams tanks that US transferred to Kiev regime was given to 47th Mechanized Brigade, all of them. So it is good news, by the way. Obviously, nothing extraordinary, nothing special. I mean, Abrams tank is just a tank and can be destroyed in the very same way that Challenger 2s are obliterated, for example, by Russian forces, British Challenger 2s or German Leopard 2s or any other military equipment that West is transferring to Kiev regime. At this point, from 31 Abrams tanks, if 20 is destroyed, then I guess at least 3 or 4 probably are not operational due to some mechanical issues, which is always the case when it comes to relatively large formations. At least number of vehicles are out of order, and I guess Kiev regime may have right now like 4, 5, 6, maximum 7 operational Abrams tanks left. Maybe, and if all of them are deployed into Kursk region, most likely we will see not just destruction of those tanks, but I mean at this point I wouldn't be surprised at all if Russian militaries will just conduct some local scale special operation to just to take Abrams tank without damage. I expect something like that to happen, by the way. Anyways, let's continue. Of course, no amount of Western military equipment can turn the tide. And I said many times before, man, Russia is victorious, by the way. Western ruling class already lost this proxy war that they provoked and are waging against Russia by sacrificing citizens of Ukraine and statehood of Ukraine. And I guess at this point, Western ruling class is realizing that. They are realizing that they lost, and just give it time and they will come to terms with this objective reality. And we may start hearing then some different statements from West about the escalation. Let's see. And dear friends, before I continue, if I may, let me notice that this channel or this project of mine, small media project of mine with several channels on YouTube, Rumble, and the Telegram, is completely subscriber funded, and I will be immensely grateful if you will also consider to support my work with small donations through PayPal or Boosty platforms, or by subscribing to my Patreon page. All the links are on this video in description box and in the pinned comment. And when it comes to Patreon and Boosty, by the way, through Boosty you can also, I mean, not just donate but also subscribe to the channel. I have some bonus videos here also, like I do on Patreon. And today I will publish on Patreon this behind the scenes video about last couple of days. I never had the time to publish this video yesterday or day before, but today I'm definitely going to publish this video on Patreon and Boosty. Hopefully community will find it interesting. They will see at least partially all this process of moving from one place to another, and hopefully these behind the scenes videos will find its audience. And yes, that's been said, dear friends. I will continue now. All the links to my PayPal, Boosty, and Patreon are under this video in the description box and in the pinned comment. And the subscription, by the way, on my Boosty starts from 500 rubles. It shows me in rubles, by the way. It's little more than $5, but on Patreon, monthly subscription starts from $5, and then you can choose your level of support if you like. You can live on $5 forever if you want to, or you can increase level of support. It's all up to you. Let's continue now. And of course, dear friends, many thanks to all the members of our community who supported my work and continues to support my work. Without you, of course, I would not be able to work on this project, dear friends. So truly grateful. Thank you very much. And let's continue with this news that in Tel Aviv, Israel, some 240 shelters have been open, and also beach is closed now because of the air raid alert. There was reports, by the way, that Hezbollah launched some over 300 missiles towards Israel, and according to Jerusalem Post, number of those missiles managed to reach their targets, although majority was intercepted by Israeli air defense system, also known as Iron Dome. And on my Telegram, dear friends, I shared this morning this video of work of Israeli air defense system. Also, TASS news agency is reporting that Hamas, during their talks in Qatar, rejected US initiatives. And as far as I understand, even though formally behind the door communication continues on topic of ceasefire in the Gaza Strip, it seems like Hamas leadership wants some security guarantees, which is kind of understandable because top negotiator from Hamas, Ismail Haniyeh, was liquidated or killed by Israel in Tehran recently, and it is understandable that whoever is in leading negotiations or conducting negotiations on behalf of Hamas now can also become a target. So those people, they want some guarantees for their security. And also, by the way, Hamas has issues with the proposal, with initiative that Israeli forces will control, at least for some time, this so-called Philadelphia corridor area between, basically borderline between Gaza Strip and Egypt. And Hamas is not okay with that. And in general, by the way, there were so many talks about ceasefire in this region between Israel and Hamas, and so many failures during these negotiations that at this point, I'm afraid there is very few people that have any faith in these negotiations. Me personally, I don't even believe that these negotiations are conducted in good faith. It's just a sort of a media operation for the public, it seems like, because if you truly are intent to de-escalate, if you really want to achieve ceasefire, then, I mean, you will somehow manage to do it, right? But, I mean, we are hearing about negotiations for months and months and months, and no real results on the ground. I already reported about this news that US and NATO intelligence is involved in this operation against Durov. Also, by the way, a few interesting news about some economical developments. RIA Novosti is reporting that, well, according to head of African Business Club in Russia and also head of diaspora of Cameroon in Russia, Louis Gowend, almost all 54 countries in Africa increasing cooperation with Russia, and the trade between the African countries and Russia is on a positive trend, according to information. If previously the trade between Africa and Russia was only 2%, now this number is 4%, so it's doubled basically. So African countries definitely are becoming are playing more and more significant role when it comes to business with Russia, in Russia, which is great, by the way, which is greater. I have some doubts about all 54 countries, of course, but I'm 100% convinced that majority of the countries in Africa are seeing Russia as a friendly nation, seeing Russia as a country with whom they can do business, and it's great, by the way. We are definitely seeing increasing cooperation, and hopefully Russia will play a fundamental role together with the other BRICS member states in rapid development of the African continent. and they have a great future, by the way. African continent definitely is our next hotspot when it comes to rapid GDP growth, rapid economical development. Definitely. So just give it another 20-30 years and you may not recognize the number of countries in Africa. They will jump so big into economical development and the prosperity. RIA Novosti is reporting that, well, this is also interesting, that exports from India are reaching record high, exports from India to Russia. And for example, we have statistics for June at this point, and in June, export reached $475 million for a month, which is well, which is good, by the way. I mean, let's be clear, $475 million, it's not peanuts, it's a good money. But because we are talking about India, and because I'm 100% convinced that Russia and India should be, and they are, strategic partners and the closest allies. Therefore, and because there is a huge potential, by the way, we are talking about Russia and India is, I mean, give it another 30 to 50 years, and India will challenge China, most likely, with economical development, with level of economical development and GDP growth, and will definitely overcome US in next 20 to 30 years, for sure. And they will be, I mean, first two major economies will be China, India, or India, China. So therefore, of course, there is a great potential for business between India and Russia, and I want these numbers to increase constantly. So if in July or June it was 475 million, okay, it's good, but I mean, let's double it for next year, for God's sake. It's definitely possible. So yes, great news, by the way, great news about cooperation of the Russian and their Indian businesses. And I will end this update on this positive information. Relatively long video, but hopefully you will find it informative, interesting, and useful. And if so, please click that like button and leave some commentary just about anything. This is the only way we can at least try to influence algorithm, likes and comments. And for very same reason, if you can, please share information about my channel with your friends in real life and on internet platforms that you are actively using. And yes, if I may, I will remind you that probably if I would not have technical issues, then this afternoon, 5 o'clock, maybe 6 o'clock this evening, I will have traditional Sunday live stream. And because I have to stream through VPN, dear friends, I will notice right away that there might be some issues with the buffering during the stream. Let's hope not, but it is possible, because last time there were some technical issues last Sunday. But in any ways, I'm gonna try, by the way. I'm gonna try. Hopefully it will work out, because this Sunday community chat is a great program. I love it, by the way, to exchange opinions with the community in real time. So yes, this is it. If you want, if you like my work, dear friends, if you like my channels and want to support, you can do it through PayPal, Boosty, or by subscribing to my Patreon, or I also have this crypto wallet, although I only twice had donation on that. But anyways, all the links, by the way, under this video in description box and in the pinned comment. This is it for now. Have a great day and take care.